loud in the studio. Do you care?
I don't care.
Okay.
Are you on right now?
Yeah.
Just waiting for something.
Just waiting on people. Hey, Thunder Ridge. Hi. Just waiting on some peeps to show up. This is a Friday Night Live, the late version, because usually I do this at 5:30, but I was on a road trip. Oh, look who it is. She's sitting next to me. I'm gonna wave at you. You waved at Team Eustace.
Yes. Hi. In real life and for fake.
Oh yeah, you can be in it.
It's funny because it's like a hair behind.
Nick, hi. Hey, Bree. Let's see what it says. Waiting for you.
I know. I'm just interested to see what happens. Oh. You don't want that noise. Epic fail.
Epic fail.
Epic fail.
We're just missing each other. What? Are you in Iowa again? Ugh.
He's coming on Monday.
Hey. Oh, for a timeout. Yeah. Hey, Steph. Allie Carlson.
Yes,
hello.
Montana.
Hey, Montana.
Oh, wait.
Hi, guys. I'm sorry, my cleavage is out of control on here. I'm sorry. let me fix myself.
Speaking of failure.
Love you too, Steph. Nick said Jenny get it right.
Oh, I just meant he was going to the state of Iowa on Monday and swinging our way on Tuesday.
Love it. Love. All right, so I am in Iowa. Hi, Anna. If y'all can't tell, I just wrapped up night number 1 with IDT and Miss Jenny. Oh, you're not there. I went the wrong way. There she is. We're just like kind of just wrapped up practice, so the kids are gone. But they do have a really awesome space. Like, look, there's a balcony to record. It's just huge and amazing. And then obviously mirrors right here. Like, doesn't get much better than that.
Air conditioning.
Well, yeah, there's no air. But it's only hot for a little bit. Hey, Colleen. Nick said, oh, that's gangsta. Colleen, I was just saying that I'm at University of Iowa. We just finished practice, so I'm just showing off their studio space. Do you get the space all year?
Hello. It's our dance department, and so we Sundays during the school year,
Sundays.
and then nationals practices. So when school's not in session, we can have it. Whenever.
Okay, perfect. There's a piano.
For yes, all the live,
for all the things.
All the live piano.
All right, so back. So again, I won't be on here super long, but I just want to make sure I show up. Obviously, I've been in a different location it seems like every night this week, but that's my life. So today I'm talking about my email about failure today. And I've had, what I would say are plenty of failures, but those were kind of just some of my top dance team ones. So I'll just kind of run down the list from what I can remember, and just how I reframe it when it happens. And you also have to remember, one thing that I tend to live by is that failure is actually a feeling, not a thing. So if you consider it just a feeling, then you'll know that it's temporary. So when something happens and it feels like a failure, it's gonna pass. So just sort of reframe it in your brain overall that way, and put it on a t-shirt. Failure is a feeling. But that helps me a lot, because then that lets you know that you can fail at something and not be a complete failure, if that makes sense. we all will fail, will fall, will screw up, but it's temporary, just like feelings are. So when you're sad, when you're angry, like feelings fade eventually. So think of it like that. So just a couple things that I have failed at, but learned a valuable lesson. Hi, Callan Kennedy, and Heather Merritt. Hello, hello. Um, I talked about like on the financial side, right? So when I first started my business, I I didn't really have any business experience. So I was just learning by trial and error. And I knew that I would have to pay taxes at the end of the year, like everyone does. But just coming from working full time to being a full time entrepreneur, it hit me kind of hard because I didn't really realize that I should, keep a large sum so I didn't get hit at the end of the year with taxes. And so I learned that lesson. I obviously paid them, I didn't get in trouble. But I was like kind of broke at the end of it because I was like, oh crap, like now I have to pay like $12,000 to the IRS because I wasn't saving it along the way. And that was a huge lesson I learned. And I would call it a failure. Exactly, Nick. I'm like, wait, what did this bill say? I've never seen a tax bill like that before. When you're working full time, it comes out every month and you don't see it. And so that was a huge failure for me because I was broke for a little while because I spent all my choreo money on taxes, not all of it, but a huge chunk of it. And so I learned a huge lesson. And now like the system that I use keeps my money in excess, really. So I take every check just for, little nuggets. You don't have to do this. This is just what I do. But like every check I get from every team, I split it up 4 ways and I put 30% to both savings accounts. So one business and one personal. And then 20% into each checking, one business and one personal. And then out of the, like the savings account, like I can, take part of that 30% and invest, or take part of it and just do like money growing activities, if that makes sense. So that could be an investment or, whatever. But I keep way less money in my checking accounts that I kind of like use on a daily basis to buy random things than I do in my savings account. And that has been amazing because then at the end of the season, I already have more than I need to pay my taxes. And I still have a huge chunk of savings left after paying my taxes. So it just sort of stacks the money and it keeps the savings accounts bigger than the checking accounts, if that makes sense. So that has been working really, really well. On the dance side, let's see. I had mentioned in the email about giving a team some choreography that I blamed them for not picking it up or not bringing my vision alive and not taking full ownership of the fact that maybe it wasn't that good or I didn't give them my best. And so, yes, they, didn't get what they wanted out of the deal and I lost the job, right? Maybe not for that reason in particular, but it just wasn't vibing. And so whenever you lose a job, I mean, it can feel like a failure because you're like, why didn't they hire me back, right? And so what I learned from that is to always create from a feeling and don't just throw choreo on a team because I got to get through it. And I can admit now that that's exactly what I did for that team. I wasn't creating from a feeling or from an emotion or from my gut. I was creating just to get the job done. And that's where we run into trouble as choreographers. So now, no matter who I'm teaching or what I'm teaching, I make sure that I'm teaching and inspiring and inserting, real feelings into the movement. So that way, hey, Katie Wadman, so that way they understand what I'm trying to teach them and they can tap into that same emotion at the same time. So that has helped a lot and I lose way less jobs that way. I mean, obviously there are teams who don't bring me back after a year or after a couple years and they don't bring me back. And that's just part of being a choreographer, right? You can wonder all day why, but I will tell you this, like 98% of people who don't hire me back after hiring me, A, stay in touch with me, or B, like I'm still friends with, which is that's how it should be. Or C, wind up hiring me back like 2 years later. So that's probably a real statistic, like 98%. There's only been a handful of people who like go running the other way. And I'm like pretty proud of that, because that means like relationship building is super important, and the base of like our relationship is good. And I also it's never awkward. Like I can't really think of any, maybe one or two, but I can't think of many who hadn't hired me back and like we don't still have a good relationship. So that's just another little tidbit. Another thing I mentioned in the email, I want to talk about the IDT story. Ooh. So I mentioned like putting my heart and soul into something and getting like 5th place, you know, and feeling like it failed, right? And Jenny can sort of, why do I keep going that way? Can sort of touch on that too. Yeah, get closer. And, you know, in the moment, it totally feels like a failure. But what we discussed was that, like, we all learned so much from that experience that it's crazy. All the way from, you know, the team becoming stronger physically, to learning how to, like, super attack something. The attack that we've been looking for, like, it was completely there. So that's not a failure. In addition to them coming together as a team and fighting real hard, and, you know, not being broken at the end of it after hearing a placement. I think any other lessons?
I think a big thing for me is that, like, I'd much rather go all in and fail like that, because we can still say, like, we did it all. We went all in. We went the theme. We went everything. I mean, you name it, we did it. And every single person on this team was 100% behind it. And I think, you know, that made it now, like, it's okay. Whereas if we wouldn't have gone all in, if we would have kind of been like, oh, we got to do the thing, you know, follow the formula, or do the UDA thing, you know, that everyone else does, instead of being true to ourselves, then the 5th place would have been like,
yeah, that's so true.
We both made the same face.
I know, that's so true. And that's like everything I talk about in the Facebook group about being an outlaw, right? So that when you do have something that feels like a failure, you have something real strong to fall back on. And that's a concept that you believe in, something that's different than everybody else. Like, it's the opposite way of what everyone else is doing. And so when you fail, quote unquote, not that it feels good, but it feels the ride that you took to get there feels really good. And so that's why I'm encouraging everybody in the world to keep taking risks and keep doing it. That's like everything I believe in. So that's just a good way that we sort of took that and like ran with it. And it made all of us better at the end of it. I'm a better choreographer. She's a better coach. Like, the kids are now fighters, and like, we ready. I can't think of I don't have the bullets in front of me, but another way that I've sort of reframed like a failure is, I've talked about this a lot, but like family planning, like we've been trying to start a family, and now we have a puppy, so we technically have a family. But trying to actually make a real baby for the past couple years, and it hasn't been working, you know, the way that like we want it to work, and snap our fingers. And we're being super patient with the process. And I've talked about like having a miscarriage, and you know, we're also right now exploring, you know, with DCFS, like foster to adopt, and like it doesn't matter if it, you know, is my physical child or not. But you know, there are days where that feels really shitty, right? And I've sort of just reframed it in my brain. And the way I reframed it is that I think about, actually my therapist asked me this the other day, like, what is it about, you know, raising children that I want the most? And my answer was like, well, really, I just want to like inspire a little human to be a really good human. Like, that's kind of the base of like why I want to parent. And so the way I sort of reframe that failure, because sometimes it feels like a failure, is that like the very thing that I want in my own children, I do every day. So I like already do that. I do that for all the dancers that I come across in a year, and like that's my thing. And so I get the opportunity, the unique opportunity to not sit at a desk all day and, you know, just type on a computer, but I get to inspire people all over the world, which is crazy to me. And so that's how I choose to reframe that, that I'm actually living the very dream that I'm hoping for. So those are my reframes. I know I skipped something, but I think those are good enough to kind of get my point of this email, of today's email across. And I just want to encourage all of you guys to take your failures and reframe them. And so actually write them down, because it helps. Just list, like, when it feels really terrible, I failed at blah, 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 but I'm reframing it XYZ. And then honestly, that feeling will pass way faster. It will. And again, I opened the live with this, but like, failure is a feeling. So just remember that, and feelings are temporary. So that's what I will leave you with. We're going to go find some food in Iowa City because I'm starving. I drove from Chicago and then came straight to practice. And then we have to be here at 9 a.m. to kind of finish. So we're going to go find some food, but thank y'all for popping on. It doesn't show me how long we've been on. That's Instagram needs to get that together, because I want to see how long it's
45
been.
minutes later.
Right. But thank you guys. So Mindset Week is just about over. Well, today was kind of the last night, but I might pop on again at some point this weekend to kind of close out the week and just answer any final questions and stuff. But I'll be doing more, you know, programming like this. And so get on my email list, or if you're a choreographer, get in the Facebook group, because some stuff will be just for my outlaw friends in the Facebook group, and I won't be doing it on Instagram globally. So thank you, and I will talk to all of you later.